Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I thought that I'd make this video on how to set up Orbit and start configuring the car, and hopefully try and answer as many questions as possible that you guys have been asking in the comments. So to get started with Orbit, first thing we have to do is go to SpikyTech's website, which is spikytech.com. After you've done that, you need to buy the software. So you'll go down here, buy Orbit. This first option is if you already have the CEM PIN, or VGM if your car is the newer model with the AAOS. The second option, this is the one I have. It is a 1-year subscription to Orbit with PIN for the sensors. So you get your CEM PIN and you get 1 year of Orbit subscription. So this allows you to use Orbit for 1 year, and they also provide you with the CEM PIN for your car. This is if you have sensors in your Volvo, which mine does. Mine is a 2019 XC60, so it does use the sensor system. The newer ones uses the newer system, the AOSS. And the third option down here is if you have the newer AOSS system. It is a bit more expensive as you need both the CEM PIN and the VGM. So you'll need both the CEM and the VGM PIN if your car runs the newer system. So you buy the first option if you already have the PIN. You buy the second option if you do not have the PIN and your car is a Sensus model. And you buy the third option if your car is the newer models. So these are the three alternatives to start configuring your car. And once you know which one you need, just click on buy, and it will take you to a PayPal site where you pay. So once you've paid for your subscription, you can go up here in the menu, click on this one, and choose the where can I download the Orbit installer. And here you can download the Orbit program. And once you've installed the current version of Orbit, you can open up the application. And before letting you in the application, Orbit will ask you for your email address. This will be the same email address that you use to buy the Orbit software. So I'll just put in my email address, and Orbit will send a code to my email to verify. So now we're inside the Orbit application, so it's time to connect the laptop to the car. And this is the cable I use to connect to the car. And I do use it with an adapter, since my laptop doesn't support Ethernet, only USB. But you could use any other cable, it doesn't have to be this one, to connect to the car. So we'll make the connection now from the car to the laptop. Alright, so we're now connected. Now we'll just put the car in ignition. There we go. And now we should be able to connect to Orbit. So we click on connect. and it's connected. So it does say configuration, config, okay on me, config allowed. But if it's your first time using the Orbit software, then you will need the CEM pin. It will ask you for the CEM before letting you configure anything in the car. And the CEM pin is provided from the seller. So after you have bought the Orbit software, you need to send an email to the seller. So once you have your pin, then just put it inside of the program. This button up here will flash, so just click on it and put your CEM pin in. And you will also need to create a profile. This is done with a press of a button. You just click on create a profile here, and Orbit will read the modules in your car and create a profile for you. So once you've done all of those steps, then you will be ready to start configuring the car. And you do that by going over here, the configurator. So once you're inside the configurator, there are many things that you could configure in your car, such as the cruise control. This is the current settings, and this is the new one. So we could change that. The current settings are the factory settings that the car rolled off the assembly line with, and the new settings are the new ones that we can apply. Now if we click on show everything, then everything will come up, and there is a lot of things, like I said, that you could configure in the car. I won't go through every single one since there are way too many. And in total we do have 504 IDs. So we do have 504 things that we can configure in the car. Now, not everything should be configured, such as the engine, the gearbox type, and many other things. So for instance, we could make the car a manual. So yeah, maybe it's not the best idea to make that change. And now to configure the car and start making some changes, it is super easy, which I will demonstrate right now. So I did do the USB upgrade to double USB port. I did used to have the single port, but now I do have the dual port. They both work, but the dual port doesn't show in the menu. It only shows one USB, since the car doesn't have the software for 2 USBs. This is what I used to have. And this is the upgrade I did. Both of the USB ports work, and I can charge from either one. So now let's configure the software to show 2 USB ports. So we'll go to the search bar and we'll search for USB. And that is the USB connection ID362. It is with one USB connection. That is how my car came from factory. And if you go to the new settings, we'll change it from one USB connection to the with 2 USB connections. We'll choose that and we'll click write to car. Our confirmation window will pop up showing the current setting and the new one we're about to apply. The current one is with one USB connection. The new one is with 2 USB connections. So we will apply that change. So the car will now start flashing. So the bar turned green, the flashing is now complete. If we look at the log, it does say ECU flash successful. So we have now let the car know that it has 2 USB ports and not one. And up here we have some settings. We have restore to OEM, Write to car, load settings, and save settings. I've covered the write to car. The restore to OEM, click on this one if you want to restore your car to OEM. So it reverts all of your changes that you have made back to the factory settings. The save settings. Here you can create a file with all of your changes that you have done. So if you ever want to restore the car back to OEM, you have all of these settings that you have changed on a saved file, which you can then get from the load settings. So the file that you saved, you just load it back up. That way you can bring back all of the changes that you've done earlier. So I'll disconnect Orbit now. And one thing that you should know is that every time you configure the car, the ECU flash does suck a lot of the juice from the battery. So make sure that your car has a good battery before making these configurations. The more changes you choose to do, the more the battery will have to work. So keep that in mind when making these configurations. And it is also a good idea to always restore your car back to OEM every time you take the car into the dealer for a service or a check, because you do risk getting your car blacklisted from Volvo if they find out that you have made these changes to your car. So always save these settings and restore it back to OEM, and then after you have been to the dealer, you can always come back and load these settings, so you have all of your changes that you have done back in the car. I have heard that some people have taken their Volvos into service with these Orbit changes and nothing have happened to them. The changes were not found from Volvo, but if they do find the changes on your car, then you do risk at getting your car blacklisted from them. So it's always safer to restore the car to OEM when taking the car in for service and then loading the settings back to the car. And so that was pretty much it of this video. So I did do this video to try and answer as many questions as possible that you guys have been putting in the comments. I know that Orbit can be a bit confusing, especially on the startup. So I hope that I answered as many questions as possible. And of course, if you have any questions, then please put them in the comments below. And as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks.